Hey, warm welcome to EUC Tech Summit. How nice for joining. I'm Ruben, I'm a technologist, and I'm passionate about end-user computing. You'll learn how EUC is leading the way, that 2020 is exciting, that Windows desktops are dead, from cloud first to cloud smart, and hot off the press news in the EUC landscape. So what are we really trying to do here? And why do we care about end-user computing? Well, EUC must be consumer simple. We, you, me, we, us, we are consumers of our business services. So hiding complexity for us, but also for administrators, is fundamental for EUC. That is our mission, and that doesn't apply to Nutanix only. My story here isn't a Nutanix specific story, but also applies to you in your environment or to other vendors listening now or later. Challenge us, challenge me, challenge them to make it really consumer simple. Why? Because at the end it's about simple. Simple is an art. Simple is a superpower. And EUC is all about getting work done. How to get work done? Well, is EUC really about end user computing, or is it more about collaboration, communication, creation, content creation? We look at this long list with a lot of technologies and products attached to that. Yeah, that's where exciting is all about. It's great to see this large landscape of awesome technologies. And that's why EUC is exciting. Services, applications, devices, users, yay. So yeah, EUC is exciting, and I'm happy to be part of the EUC community and EUC family. And 2020 was exciting as well. Who led the digital transformation in your company? What happened with the speed of digital transformation in 2020? Well, for sure, 2020 was the year of VPN. And 2020 was the year of Zoom and Teams, with our own typical Zoom and Teams lingo. And this is the special 2020 and 2021 edition. And finally, we can say 2020 was the year of desktop as a service and VDI. A lot of people bought new cloud-based VDI, DaaS. People with no VDI were using desktop as a service. People with VDI, virtual apps and desktops, were adding more resources to their existing platforms so they can support more users. So yes, we could say, and we can say, and we will say, 2020 was the year of VDI and desktop as a service. While I'm not in the office with work from here as default, what is the actual culture then? How do companies retain colleagues? How do we deliver a great employee user experience when everyone is not in the same place? Challenging questions, and the answer is not that technology alone is the solution. It's a mixture of culture and technology and people and processes. It's a combination of that. And that's the new reality. So EUC makes it possible that my 3 kids are able to learn from a distance. Makes it possible that my friend who works in a large engineering organization can continue designing and building large factories. It enables me to get work done from here, from now, from home. Wow, thanks. Alrighty, let's switch to the second topic. Windows desktop is dead. Some people already have seen these strange monoliths in Utah and other places in the world, right? Some even had Windows logos on them. But indeed, is this the Windows desktop or the Microsoft desktop in 2021 and beyond? Good question. Well, for many, this is the Microsoft desktop in 2021 and beyond. And when you look at this spectrum of technologies, what a difference Microsoft made and changed, and what a different Microsoft is compared to years and years ago. And it's great to see. So in that context, who cares about Windows in a cloud and mobile first world? Is Windows relevant? Does this apply like nobody cares? Well, maybe it's wrong. Remember, I did share this bigger EUC picture before. This bigger EUC picture contains Windows apps with 35 million Windows apps. So Windows is powering businesses in 2020, in 2025, in 2030, for many, many, many years to come. And all the easy Windows apps are already migrated to web, SaaS, mobile. Welcome to the club, we are stuck with the complex Windows apps for a long time. And that's not a bad thing per se, it's just part of the EUC landscape, part of the EUC application landscape to get work done. But what if you can run Windows apps in the interface end users prefer? And the interface can be a browser, Windows Start menu, Linux, Google Shelf, Mac Dock, mobile apps, so anywhere. But it also can be something completely different. And what if Slack is the new workspace? Like, who saw this coming? Salesforce entering the digital workspace with a mega deal, $27 billion acquisition of Slack. Maybe Slack is the new workspace, or Teams is the new workspace, or yet to come Inc. is the new workspace, not invented yet. We'll see what happens next year or next years. So instead of everything into one workspace interface, the application delivery platform is able to interface with every interface with close to native experience possible. Windows apps launch Windows apps from everywhere, from every interface. This example is a good example. Like, why not use Slack with virtual Windows app delivery integration? Add a bot, type Photoshop, a couple of seconds later, Photoshop will just launch. Or deep integration into Office 365 application launcher, where you can add Windows apps into the Office 365 application launcher. Maybe integration with OneDrive as well. You double click on a PSD file and automatically Photoshop with that file will open. Without installing anything on that device. No client, no agent, no plugin, no receiver, no nothing, just browser. Or what if applications integrate into Teams directly? Or apps integrate into existing interfaces like Citrix Workspace as an example, as you can see here. Or VMware Workspace ONE with deep integration. Or Workspace 365 with deep integration, where apps and content and data are all combined. And these integrations, they will leverage the existing identity platform. So when you log into Office 365 or Workspace 365, and you use, for instance, Azure AD, that token will be used to single sign-on to these Windows applications. Or what if, with a single click, it is possible to create a progressive web application, PWA. Web application which look and feel like local apps, including roaming capabilities, including docking to Start menu, or Google Shelf, or Mac Dock, or Start menu, and so on and so on. With that, the desktop becomes the workspace, but not a single integrated workspace. So now we are getting to the point where we can see and use digital workspace, which is not the Microsoft Windows desktop. And that is what we expected and talked about for many, many years already, and is finally happening. So which front door do your business consumers, do your users use? Is it the Windows Start menu, Google Shelf, Mac Dock, Teams, Slack, Workspace 365, Citrix Workspace, Horizon 1? Or what if the answer is not one single door, but what if the answer is multiple doors? Then you need an EUC solution, which is easy to make that happen from a user and from an admin perspective. Cloud disrupts the norm, from cloud first to cloud smart. Without public cloud, the world would look a lot different. Work from here, work from home would be very tough for many. Investigations and developments in medicine and vaccine would take much more time. Also in context of EUC, public cloud is disrupting the norm. From software to service, from VDI to desktop as a service, from Exchange to Office 365. Great, yes, public cloud is great indeed. But there are also real and serious downsides, topics to keep in mind. Together with Mark and Christian, we ran a large survey. Close to 700 people supported that survey. And when we asked the question, what are the biggest challenges in adopting public cloud? Cost, business case, legal regulation, trust, but also the availability and guaranteed capacity is a real concern. And performance is also described as a real concern. So what the experts won't tell you about storage performance and GPU options. So I just picked 2 items in the context of performance to go a little bit deeper. So what if you run a storage performance benchmark with an VDI profile, 80% write IOs, 20% read IOs, and use just a common storage platform for EUC on Azure, AWS, and GCP? Well, that's what you see here. Or you do a rerun with premium SSD, which has burst capacity, which is great. What is the simple summary of this benchmark? Well, performance in public cloud is not the same as you'll have on your local PC or workstation, or in a modern data center. Sometimes performance is poor. And keep in mind that the name, the technology standard SSD doesn't mean SSD performance like you have in your laptop. Is that an issue? Well, maybe. It depends what you have in mind, what the OS, what the application requires. And of course, this whole conversation will have impact also in the business case, in the TCO and ROI calculation. So what about GPU options? Well, it's great. It really is great to have multiple options, multiple GPU options in Azure, AWS, and GCP. It's awesome to have the flexibility to just spin up instances instantly in regions globally, machines with 4 NVIDIA T4 GPUs, and pay for the actual consumption. I know customers with 20,000 employees using GPU-powered workstations to support their engineering use cases. It's great to leverage public cloud for that. What kind of options are available and how do they perform? Well, that's what I investigated. I did run a benchmark with Azure, Amazon, GCP, and various GPU options. I was using SpecView Perf. In this example, I was running also some other benchmarks, but in this example, I will share SpecView Perf. And SpecView Perf is a set of runtimes applications under one umbrella. You can see here like Siemens NX, Maya, Creo, Katia, all kinds of apps running under the SpecView Perf application. And I'm running this application with different kind of instances, and each instance will have different CPU, RAM, GPU characteristics. And it's important to understand what the application requirements are, what the user expectations are, and match that what the instance can deliver. And that's what I've done with this particular benchmark specifically. So this is helpful to understand different machines, different resources in these machines. Sometimes clock speed can be a differentiator for certain applications. What kind of GPU, what kind of GPU family, that's what you see here with different instance types on Azure, Amazon, and Google. So you've seen many great options in the GPU context. Many customers use it on a daily basis, but there's also there are also things to keep in mind. For instance, like GPU hardware is lagging by 2 to 5 years. No NVIDIA vGPU, so no slicing of GPU on the NVIDIA side is available in public cloud. AMD GPU solutions are available, but capabilities are limited, for instance, on the encoding side. And overall, when you look at this whole spectrum, resource capacity of GPUs across the globe is a constraint or can be a constraint. So yes, cloud is great, but it's important to understand the use cases, the impact on ROI TCO calculations, the limitations and detail, and I just scratched the surface with 2 items I just mentioned. And these items are also applicable to on-prem. So yeah, cloud is great, but don't forget the details and don't forget the bigger picture as well. So please don't be a lemming. Cloud first doesn't mean cloud only. And go for cloud first to cloud smart. And cloud smart means flexibility, choice. Use the right tool for the right job. So what do AWS Outposts, Azure Stack Hub, Nutanix, and VMware have in mind? What does it mean in this context? So what I see is that Nutanix and VMware, born in the on-prem world, connecting with public cloud, and hyperscalers, AWS, great example, Azure as well, connecting with the on-prem world, building a hybrid cloud infrastructure so on-prem and public cloud, and run workloads where it makes sense. That's the value of hybrid cloud infrastructure. Topics like cost, availability, location from a data locality perspective, run apps close to the data, location from a legal regulation perspective, and of course performance. These elements determine where to run workloads. In public clouds, on-prem, and important is that you use the right tools for the right job, as I mentioned earlier, but also the same tools with people with knowledge and people with skills who can manage these two infrastructures. And if you use the same tools, and there's no difference between on-prem or cloud from a deployment, from a management, from an like tools perspective, then you are in a really great shape. And that's what I mean with hybrid cloud infrastructure. So next topic, final topic in this keynote is hot off the press with EUC. Look at this awesome list. Super exciting. Look at all these developments and discussions which are happening. I'll just pick a couple of them to highlight here. And also, what's next? Quantum computing EUC edition. Every user, every device, in every place, all at the same time. Who knows what happens? We'll see in a decade from now. So the first topic is GPUs for speed and experience. I love GPUs. GPUs are great. They're great for games. They're great for VDI, DAS, for AI. What I also like is there's a nice battle happening between AMD and NVIDIA. And competition is a healthy thing. And one of the newer items here are GPUs with real-time ray tracing. And ray tracing is a rendering technique that can produce incredible realistic lighting effects. And that's what you see here in this small video. But also GPUs and also real-time ray tracing can be very applicable in collaboration. So what if you can work together with different devices, different apps, different locations, but all synced and working together real time? Or what if you combine Zoom or Teams with virtual reality support and combine that with what you see here in action? Maybe that is the collaboration.next, the collaboration feature of the future. Nice, exactly, collaboration.next. Our job as EUC IT professionals is to de-suckify shitty user experience. What does it mean? Well, what I mean with that is we should focus on remote user experience tracking and reporting. Now you might say, well, I've been there. I know I know what kind of tools I should use for that. But the problem is that we spend so much time on telemetry data. So the focus is telemetry data, CPU utilization, application usage, network bandwidth. And these telemetry data is important, is valuable for sure. But what we forgot is that we forgot to look at what the real user experience is. And there are tools in the making, like Rex and NVIDIA NVector, which both are possible to measure and record user experience. And then if you combine that, so the real user experience, you can see here on the left high quadrant, that's in this case a video of real user experience captured, and combine that with like real-time connected to telemetry data, then you have a complete picture. Okay, what is the user experience and what kind of telemetry data is attached to that? And that's really great to see that different friends and different vendors in this space take remote user experience tracking and monitoring analytics really serious. Oh well, yeah, time is flying when you're having fun. I really enjoyed it. You've learned and seen that end user computing is leading the way, helping you, me, my kids, us, we to get work done with a big smile, and that is exciting. Thanks for joining and have a great event.